Euthanasia, Greek for good death, death without suffering. But whose suffering does it forsake? Euthanasia can be defined as the painless killing of an extremely irrevocably sick person's life in order to allow them a merciful release. Around the globe, the reception euthanasia gets in terms of the laws surrounding it differs from country to country. However, the pain and suffering that leads people there, that remains a constant. Euthanasia encompasses various dimensions which may either be active, introducing something to cause death, or passive, withholding treatment or supportive measures. It may be classified as voluntary with consent, involuntary with consent from the guardian, or physician-assisted. Regardless of which method is taken, it ends in the loss of a human life. Can this truly be justified? Some call life to be a many-faceted gift, some call it God-given, some even call it a miracle. But when tragedy strikes, our perspective can vastly change. Suddenly, life can be the very embodiment of misery, something better taken away, and the selfish courage that leads a person away from the place where it is better they don't return. It is the choice taken in that moment which can discolor others' worlds. Euthanasia raises a number of agonizing moral dilemmas. Could it ever be right to end the life of a terminally ill patient who is undergoing severe pain and suffering? Under what circumstances can it be justifiable? The very definition differs from country to country. The British House of Lords Select Committee on Medical Ethics defines euthanasia as a deliberate intervention undertaken with the express intention of ending life to relieve intractable suffering. In the Netherlands and Belgium, euthanasia is understood as termination of life by a doctor at the request of a patient. The Dutch law, however, does not use the term euthanasia, but includes the concept under a broader definition of assisted suicide and termination of life on request. In some countries, the allowing of euthanasia by any given medical practice can even result in imprisonment. The suffering which leads a person to a place where assisted suicide is considered legally, emotionally, and medically the best path of action for them cannot be understood unless in the position of the person undergoing it. To then categorize which suffering is superior to the other in order to determine which is worthy of merciful release, truthfully, it's burdensome. Medically speaking, patients with terminal illness will only progressively get worse over time, to the point where death is kinder than life. It's this sort of thinking that leads countries to legalize euthanasia. In 2017, the Essential poll was conducted in Australia, yielding that 73% of citizens said yes to assisted suicide. Alternatively, when a similar question was asked in Germany, 67% of individuals agreed. Across the time period of 2007 to 2017, the rates of euthanasia per 1,000 deaths globally has risen considerably, particularly in the Netherlands. On the other hand, in Oregon, USA, the leading reason for euthanasia stands as cancer. However, if a cancer sufferer in Australia felt that they would rather be allowed release from life, they would only be legally allowed to do so in the WA and Victoria, means of doing so differing. To speak of death so formally, so factually, one could consider it wrong. This particular branch of death, so debated, legally morphed into something that can be considered comprehensible. The fact remains that we lose people to an abyss no one knows, and that breaks people into pieces. All our lives we go along a bright road in pursuit of happiness. Our hopes afloat in the mere palms of our hands. One can never know when a dark, unknown entity may come and cut that hope away and have it turned into a distant glimmer, whether it be at the hands of age, illness, injury, or else. A pill willingly taken from the hands of a physician, as those you love stand around you, accepting your choice and mourning it. So have we answered the key question with euthanasia? Do we have the right to die? In all honesty, we can't.